Hello everyone, welcome to the Mercury Virtual. Hope you are doing good. Today I am going to continue with your same module, that is a or the website design, and the same topic, or we can say the new module that you started in the last class, and the same chapter, that is where do I start, that is the chapter number 1. So let's start with the previous class session, because in the previous class, that is in the yesterday's class, I have started with this module, that is learning the web design, that is the 4th edition, that is related to the learning the various web designing concepts, and focus on only one web design, we can say the concept language, that is the HTML. But before this, let's take a knowledge of the various web designing, we can say the languages that is used for the web designing. So first is the starting with the previous class session, that is what we have covered in the last class, that is our learning a website design. So let's start with the previous class session. In the last class we have started with the learning the web designing, that is what are the various phases of learning the web designing, that is HTML, CSS, JavaScript and the web graphics. In the last class we have started with the various content, that is what are the content of these, we can say the book, that is chapter number 1, chapter number 2, multiple chapter, that is HTML, image, CSS and so on. So we have started with chapter number 1, that is where do I start, that is from where do I start, that is what is the, we can say the starting point, that is for getting the expertise knowledge, that is what is the starting point from there. So where do I start, so that's the web that been around for more than 20 years now, experiencing erratic early expansion, that is an economic driven burst, an innovation driven rebirth and a constant evolution along the way. So whatever the web, whatever the technology that is used, that is using by that web based technology, that is using for the website designing, that is from the last 20 years, that is the web is increasing due to the early expansion, due to the early competition, that is an economic driven bust, that is an innovation driven rebirth and the constant evolution along the way, that is it is increasing nowadays, that is the economic problem, that is the economic part of the we can say the web, that is the economic part, that we can say that there will be increment, or we can say the demand for the web. One thing is certain, that is a web as a communication and a commercial medium, he has to stay, that is a web is also used as a communication medium, web is also as a commercial medium, that is from the with the use of the web, there are multiple sites that is used, that is by which we can pay our money, we can generate our online application, we can make the online shopping, that is a commercial medium as well as a communication medium. We can chat with the help of Facebook, with the help of GoToMeeting, that is also a part of the web. So web is also used as a communication and the commercial medium that is used. Not only that, it has been found its way onto the devices such as a smartphone, tablet, TV and more. So now a web base, or the web is also used on the laptops, used on the smartphones, used on the tables, used on the tablets, used on the TVs and much more. And there has never been more opportunities to put web design know-how to use. So there will be more opportunity, that is we are gaining, that is how to use the web designing, what are the various methods to design the or to gain the web pages. And through my experience teaching web designing course and the workforce, so that is we can say the experience of the we can say experience of the author, that have been opportunity to meet the people of all the background that will be used, who are interested in learning how to build the web pages. What are the web pages, that is how to use the web pages, what are the various concepts to use the web pages. So these are the various experiences that is shared by the, we can say the, that is shared by multiple programmers, or we can say the authors, that we have discussed. That is a print designer for the 17 years now. I'm feeling pressure to provide my web services design. Next, I'm working as a secretary. So there are various scenarios, these are the various concepts with various scenarios by which you are gaining that how, what is the teaching experience, how to design the web pages, that is the web design courses and the workshop. And whatever the motivation, the first equation is always the same, where do I start. So that is from where do I start, that is the starting point of the phase, or the starting point of the web designing. And whatever the motivation, the first question is always the same, where do I start, that is where do I start from, that is what is the starting point, where do I start from the scratch, from the starting point, that is where do I start. And this chapter attempts to put the learning curves in perspective by answering the most important question, that is what are the various most important questions that is generated in the large designing, that is generated with the help of the large designing, that is answering the most important question, that is also a part of the web designing. So these are the various experiences of the author, that is experiences, that is how the web is demanding again and again, or we can say increasing from the years to the year, that is demand is increasing from the year to the year in the working environment. And whatever the motivation, the first question is always the same: where do I start? That is, whatever the scenario, whatever the motivation, that is the same. Now what is the we can say the what is the question that is coming, that is the question that is the same, that is, where do I start? It may seem like there is a fountain of the stuff to the learn, and it is not easy to know where to jump in, but you have to start somewhere. That is the you have to start from somewhere. That is what is the motivation part, that is from where you have to start the login page. This chapter attempts to put the learning curve in perspective by answering the most important question I get asked by the people ready to make the leap. That gives an introduction to the discipline, technology, and the tools associated with the web designing. That is, what are the various discipline, what are the various rules, regulation, what are the various technology, what are the various tools that is associated with the web designing. And where do I start? That is a particular starting point that will no doubt depends on your background and the goal. So what's your goal? For example, your goal is not the high goal, so you can start from anywhere, that is you can start from the scratch. But if your goal is high, then you can start your thinking, and you can start your process, you can start your starting point, and you can begin your starting point with more complicated scenarios. So that is where do I start? That the first step for everyone is to get a basic understanding of how the web and the web pages work. That is how the web work and how the web pages work. That is the next concept. That is how to work with the internet, and what are the various web pages, that is work with the internet. And this book will give you a foundation, that is a foundation course of the book. And once you have learned about the fundamental, there are plenty of resources on the web. So basically web is not the, we can say, the one precise that is stored in one area, that is stored in one room. No, that is not. But web is a very vast concept. We cannot predict what is coming from the web. So that is becoming the, there are number of plenty of resources that is available on the web, that is you can further use for the learning in the specific area. And there are many levels of involvement in the web designing, from building a small site for yourself to making it a full-blown career. Then we have studied that if you are involved in the web designing, that is there are multiple parts. If you are learning the web designing the web pages at the hobby level, or we can say the hobbyist level, that is the your enjoyment levels, or if you have just one or two web project that you like to publish. So it depends on your scenario to scenario. If you are in a hobby to learn the web pages, or you have interest of learning the web pages, or you have a project that you had like to publish, then you may find that a combination of the personal research, that is reading the book, take advantage of the available templates, and that can be used in the web designing tools such as the Adobe Dreamweaver, that is used to accomplish the task at the hand. So that is used for the building the task, that is used for designing the task. There are multiple software, there are multiple tools that is available for designing the web pages. And if you are interested in pursuing the web design or production as a career, you will need to bring your skills up to a professional level. Employers may also or may not require a web design degree, but they will expect to see working sample sites that demonstrate your skills and the experience. And these sites can be the result of the class assignment, personal project, or a simple site for a business, small business of the organization. So that are the various sites. The various sites are available for building the class assignment, for building the personal project, or the simple site for the business organization or the business. Now next is the various concept that is used, that provides a template for the various web designing. So some of the popular method for the web designing techniques are as follows. That is for creating the blogs. Blogs means we can say the personal web page that is developed on the web. So one of these are the various, we can say, the popular method that is used for designing the blog. So one is the WordPress, the next is the Blogger, the next is the Tumblr. So these are the three parts that is used to create a blog. And what does a web designer do? That is, what is the responsibility of the web designer? That is, what does a web designer do? So over a year, the term web design has become a chat call, or we can say the cat call, for a process that encompasses a number of different disciplines, from user experience design to document markup to serious programming. So it depends on the requirement to requirement, it depends on the process to process. So there are multiple web designing techniques that is also used, that encompasses a number of different disciplines, from the user experience design to document markup to serious programming. That is the web designing method. So this is the task of the web designer, to become or we can say to process a number of disciplines, number of work experience design, to document the markup, and for the serious programming. Now, then we have discussed about the various web designing method that is used, like the visual design, user interface, and the experience design, then web document and the size sheet production, then scripting and the programming, then content strategy and the multimedia. So these are the various, we can say, the discipline that is used, or discipline that is used in the web designing, and that depends on the creating a large website or the small website. So if you are designing a small website on your own, you will need to wear many hats. The good news is that you probably won't notice. Consider that the day-to-day up to or upkeep of your household requires you to be a part-time chef, house cleaner, accountant, diplomat, gardener, and the construction worker. So it depends on your person to person. It depends on your quality to quality. That is what is called quality. What are the various techniques that is used for the quality. In the same way, as a solo web designer, you may be part-time designer, writer, HTML author, and the information architect. That is for creating the making the, or the web pages. Now, these are the various criteria that is used for the designing the web pages, and we are designing the large scale website that are almost created by the team of the people. So there will be a proper team that is creating the, that is developing the websites. The team involved as a that is there are multiple parts of the team, or the multiple persons. One person is handling one scenario, or we can say the one task. One person is handling the another task. So different persons are assigning the different tasks, who can create their web pages, who can create their role for creating the web pages. And in this scenario, each member of the team focus on the fact of the site building process. That is, every member has opportunity, every member has a focus to build their own project, build their own criteria, or we can say build their own role. And when the compilation is done for the whole role, that compilation can give the better result, can give the study of the large scale websites. If that is the case, you may be able to simplify, adapt your current set of styles like writing, Photoshop, programming, etc., and the interest to the new medium. And I have divided the my role and responsibility covered under the umbrella term, that is a web design, into four categories. So there are in totality there are four categories of web designing. One is the design, then development, then content strategy, and the multimedia. And in the last class we are finished with the design part only. Now today next part, that is the development. So in the design part we have studied about the what are the various requirements, that is divided into various categories, that is a design part. So when it comes to the completing site, that will be required for the web design task. And here are a few of the new job description that is related to the designing a site, that is used for the overlapping the concept, that is used for designing the concept, that is more overview for the web designing concepts. Then user experience, interaction, and the user interface design. That is, what are the various user interfaces, what are the interaction methods, and what are the user interface design that is used with the web designing task. And often when we think of design, we think about how something looks, that is how something looks, what are the various designing method, interaction method, and the user interface method that is worked with the designing part. And on the web, the first matter of business is designing how the site works. Before picking up the color and the fonts, it is important to identify the site goal. So before picking out the color, what is the color, what is the syntax for designing the website? No. First of all, we have to identify the site's goal. That is, what is the main goal of the site, how it will be used, and how visitors move through it. And these tasks fall under the discipline of the ID, that is the interaction design, user interface design, user experience design. So these tasks are fall under the discipline of various categories like ID, UD, or UID, user experience design, and yes. And there is a lot of overlap between these responsibilities, and it is not uncommon for one person or the team to handle all the three. There is a lot of the overlap that is also lies between the responsibilities, and it is also not uncommon, or we can say the not common for from one person to or team to handle all the three tasks. There are three tasks in the designing part, that is the interface design, that is the ID, then next is the user interface design, that is the UI design, next is the user experience design, that is the UX design. And the goal of the interaction designer is to make the site as easy, efficient, and delightful to use as possible. That is the interaction design. Next, that is related is the user interface design. that tends to be more narrowly focused on the functional organization of the page as well as the specific tool that the user can use to navigate from to accomplish the task. That is a user interface design. So one is an interaction designer that becomes or that makes the site very easy, delightful. We can say the user friendly. That is the interaction designer. Then user interface design that focus on the functional organization of the page as the as well as the specific tool like the buttons, links, menus, and so on. A more recent job title in the web designing realm is a user interface design that is used for the user interface facilities. The UX designer takes a more holistic view that is ensuring the entire experience when the site is favorable. UX design is based on the solid understanding of the users and their needs based on the observation and the interviews. So it depends on the user experience, it depends on the user designer, user experience designer that provides a holistic view that ensures the entire experience when the site is favorable. Then next is the some of the document that is prepared in the interface design, user interaction or the user experience design. What are the various documents that is prepared? First is user research and the testing the report. First is the user research and then testing the report. That is understanding the needs, desires and limitations of user is central to the success of the design of the website or the web application. So whatever the need or whatever the demand, whatever the limitations of the user, that is central, that is the main part of the success of the design of the site. So if the site is success, that means there should be a proper demand, need, desire and limitations of the user that is central to the success of the design of the site or the web application. And this approach of designing around the user's need is referred as a user-centered design, that is a UCD, that is a user research and the testing report, and it is central to the contemporary design, that is a user-centered design. So site design often starts with the user research, including the interviews and the observations in order to gain a better understanding. So that is a site design start with the user's research. That is what is the user research, how to use the user research. That includes the interviews, observation in order to gain a better understanding of how the site can solve the problem and how it will be used. That is how it will be used and how the site will be developed. And it is typical for the designer to do a round of user testing at each phase of the design process to ensure the usability of their design. That is, what are the various designing method, what are the various testing method that is used as a design process to ensure the usability of the design. Then the wireframe diagram, these are the diagram that shows or we can say that ensures or that represent the structure of the website that use the outline for the content type and the widgets. That is what is the internal structure, that is how the website will be designed, that is we can say the layout of the website. And the purpose is to indicate how the screen real estate is divided, so the how the different parts are divided into multiple parts and how each part functional or each part provides a functionality and the content such as the navigation, search boxes, form element and so on, that is placed without any decoration or the graphic design. Next is a site design that indicates the structure of the site as a whole and how individual pages relate to one another. That is a site design. That is the structure of the site. That means the structure of the site means layout of the site as a whole and how the individual pages relate to one another. That is how the different pages are related to one another, how different parts are related with one another. And these are the various examples of the first is the wireframe, then is the site design. This is the wireframe that is divided into multiple parts. Then this is the site diagram, that is a diagram that represents how the pages are divided into multiple parts. That is a home page, that is the email page, frequently asked question, info page, book, web design services, resume, samples, external links. That is a sample site diagram. So one is a wireframe diagram, one is a sample site diagram. Then next is the storyboard and the user flow chart. That is what is a storyboard that traces the path through the site or the application from the point of view of a typical user. That is a storyboard that traces the path. That is what is the path that is used through the site or the application that is used with the point of view of a typical, or we can say the point of view of a typical user. That is a user that is using the website, that is using the site or the application. That is a storyboard. and it usually includes a script and the scenes consisting of the screen views or the user interacting with the screen. That is, what are the various scripts, what are the various scenes that consist of the various screen views or the user interacting with the screens. And the storyboard aims to demonstrate the steps it takes to accomplish the task, possible options, and also introduces some standard page type. That is a storyline or the storyboard aims that is used to accomplish the task. That is, what are the various steps or what are the various tasks that is using, and what are the various scenarios that is using the task. That is, what are the various possible options that is also used for introducing the standard page types. And the user flowchart is another method for showing how the parts of a site or applications are connected. They tend to focus on the technical details rather than telling a story. That is, the flowchart is also used for describing the flow of the concept, that is how the system or how the data will be flowed from one part to the another part. And it is common for the designer to create or create a user flowchart for the steps in a process such as the member registration or the online payment. This is a storyboard example. That is a storyboard, typical storyboard that is using, that is the courtesy of the adaptive path drawn by the Braden Shaker. The next is the visual graphics design that we have studied, and that is the next part of the designing. And that is since web is a visual medium, that is a visual medium means by which anyone can see the pictures. The web pages require attention to presentation and the design. So the main motto is of the web page that requires attention, that is on the presentation and the design. That your content on the web page should be presentable, and there should be a proper designing on the web page. That is not that your website looks very fatty, or we can say the very dull. No. But web pages requires attention to the presentation and the design. So the web designer or the graphic designer creates the look and feel of the site, that is the logos, graphics, type, color, layout, etc., to ensure that the site makes a good first impression and is consistent with the brand and the message of the organization it represents. So it provides the look and feel of the organization. How to provide the look and feel? What are the various logos? What are the graphics that is used for the type, color, graphics, site that is used for the site representation? And they may also be responsible for producing the graphic files in a way that is optimized for delivering over the web. And if you are interested in doing the virtual design of a commercial site professionally, I strongly recommend graphic design training as well as strong proficiency in the Adobe Photoshop, that is the industry standard, or the Adobe Firefox. And if you are already a graphic designer, you will be able to adapt your skills to the web easily, although it cannot be excused from acquiring a good understanding of the HTML. So if you are becoming, or if you are acquiring a good already have a good developer that is used for the environment of the studies. Now next is the development, that is today's topic, that is what is the development, how to use a development, and what are the various techniques that is used with the development. So a fair amount of web design process involves the creation and the troubleshoot of the problems. So that this development says a fair amount of the web design process. That is, a fair amount means enough amount of the web design process involves the creation and troubleshoot of the document. That is, create the document of the web pages or create the web page document and troubleshoot of the documents, style sheets, script, and images that makes up a site. So create the images, do the modification in the images, troubleshoot the documents, style sheets, script, and the images that makes up a site. So whatever the document, whatever the style sheet, whatever the script that is used, that whatever the image that is a part of the web pages that makes up a website, that is the development. So a fair amount of the web design process involves the creation and the troubleshooting of the troubleshooting of the documents, style sheet, script, and the images that makes up a site. At the web page or web design firms, so whatever the firms that is designing the web pages, that is the web design firms, the team that handles the creation of the files that make up the website. So various organizations are available, various firms are available, in which there are multiple teams that handles the creation of the file that makes up the website or the template for pages to get assembled dynamically. that is usually known as the development or the production department. So this is the department that produces the web pages, that produces the content for the web pages that is available, that the team handles, that is used for creation of the files that makes up the website. That is the development. And the person who is developing the web pages, that is known as the, or he or she is known as the web developer. So web developer may not design the look or the structure of the site themselves, but they do need to communicate well with the designer. So they communicate with the designer, they communicate with the various parts of the design, what are the various designers, and how the designers can work with, and how the designer can communicate with the various persons, and how what are the various, we can say, goals that is intended by the web developer. So it is a responsibility of developer to look about the site, to gain about the site, what are the various techniques that is using with the sites, and understand the intended site goals, so that they may suggest what are the various working environment solution to meet the goals. Now, what are the various disciplines that falls under the development are authoring, styling, and the scripting programming. These are the various disciplines that is available as a part of the development. First is the authoring, then styling, then scripting, and the programming. So authoring is a term that is used for the process of preparing content for delivery on the web. So authoring is a term that is used for the process of preparing the content. That is how to prepare the content, what are the various content preparation for delivery on the web, more specifically marking of the content with the HTML tags. That is the authoring. So authoring is a term that is used for the process of preparing the content for the delivery on the web, or more specifically marking of the content with the HTML tag. That is the authoring. That is used for the delivering, that is how to deliver the pages on the web, and how to use or mark up the content with the HTML tags that describes its content and the function. That is the authoring. So whatever the content, whatever the functionality of the HTML pages, HTML tag that is required, that is a part of the authoring technique. And if you want a job as a web developer, you need to have indicate knowledge of HTML and how it functions on various browsers. So if you are working on a, or if you have want to do the job on a web as a web developer, you need to have knowledge of the HTML. That is, you need to have an intricate knowledge, because this is the basic of the web designing. Without HTML, no one can understand the CSS, no one can understand the JavaScript, no one can understand the VB script. No, but the main criteria is that, the main term is that it is an HTML, that is a base, that is a, every web designer who wants to work as a web designer, web developer, that he or she must have a knowledge of the interesting knowledge or intricate knowledge, that is a basic knowledge of the HTML and how it functions on various browsers and the devices. Browsers means Chrome, that is the Google Chrome, Mozilla, Internet Explorer. And the HTML specification is constantly evolving, which means you will need to keep up with the latest best practices and opportunities, as well as the bugs and the limitations. The good news is that it is difficult to get started, and from there they can gradually increase your skills. Next is the I'm so sorry. So first is the authoring or the markup, that is done with the HTML. Now next is the styling, that is how to give the style to the web pages. What are the various styles of the web page? That is the styling. So in a web design, the appearance of the page in the browser is controlled. So whatever the experience of the page that is used, that is from which or by which the browser is controlled by a single or by the style rules known as the CSS. So styling is performed using the CSS, that is a cascading style sheets. And we will get deep into CSS in the part 3 of this book. That is the cascading means, what are the various cascading. So as the name advises, cascading style sheet, that is a style sheet that is available, that is used or that is prepared with the use of the web designing method, that is a CSS, that is a cascading style sheet. And many usual visual designers translate their designs into HTML and the CSS documents themselves. So many designers translate their designs, translate their scenarios into the HTML document and the CSS document. In fact, there is a popular argument that in order to call yourself as a web designer, you must be able to build your design yourself. So first of all, you have to build your design yourself, then get the scenario, get the example, then we can say make the scenario that will be able to or we can that you will be able to achieve your dreams. And then if your site works well, so first of all build a small website, then build a large website, so that is experience to experience will go on growing and growing. And nearly everyone agrees that your job prospect will be better if you are able to code as well as the design. So web designer, a good web designer is one that has a opportunity to code, that is do the coding, internal processing as well as the designing. Not that some persons are good in the designing part but not good in the programming. So it depends on the person to the person. So you are must aware about the programming as well as the development, sorry, as well as the designing. So you must be aware about the development as well as the designing. Development means the programming, designing means the page layout, that is a web page, right? So styling is performed by the CSS, that is a cascading style sheet. So that is a style sheet that is available, that provides various links, that provides various paths for the cascading style sheet. Now next is the scripting and the programming. That is, what is the scripting, what is the programming, what is the difference between the scripting and the programming, what are the we can say advantages, connection between the scripting and the programming. So as the web has evolved into a platform of a application, so as the web is going from the application to the applications for getting stuff done, the programming has never become or been more important. JavaScript is a language that makes the element on the web page to do things. So Java, we can say that JavaScript is a language that is a, there are some rules where some syntax that is used as a part of the programming. So that is not whole going programming, but JavaScript is using the some sort of programming that makes the element on the web page to do the things. It adds behavior and the functionality to element in the page and ever to the browser window itself. So it means JavaScript, that is a language, that is a web that involve various applications for getting starting with the languages. So it adds the behavior and the functionality to the elements in the page. That is JavaScript adds the functionality and the behavior in the page and even to the browser window itself. So it also provides the browser window, that is a Mozilla, Google Chrome, Firefox. Now we can say the Internet Explorer, that is any browser we can use, so that is used for the browser window itself. And there are other web related programming languages that is also available, that include the PHP, Ruby, Python and the ASP.NET. That is a personal homepage, Ruby, ASP.NET, that is the active server pages.NET, Python. So these are the various web related programming languages that is using the coding, that is using the programming. That is a web designer must have a knowledge of the designing as well as the developing. And these are the languages, programming languages that runs on the server and process the data. So first of all, it runs on the server and it also processes the data and the information before it is sent to the user's browser. So it processes the data, it we can say the make the calculation of the data and the information before it is sent to the web browser. Now see the sidebar front end and versus the back end for more information on what happened or what happens where. That is the front end, the back end, that is a example, that is a difference that is given in this after the or we can the last of the page. The web scripting and the programming definitely requires some traditional computer programming parts or pros. So web scripting and the programming languages definitely require some traditional computer programming powers of the pros. While many web programmers have a degree in the computer science, it is also common for the developer to be self-taught. So while many web programmers have a degree in the computer science, it is also common for the developer to be self-taught. That is, they have a degree, but the programmer also have a knowledge of the programming languages, so that he or she can deal with the programming languages, deal with the work with the programming languages. Everything is available on the programming languages. A few developers I know starting by copying and adapting the existing script, then adding gradually to their programming skills and with the new project. Let's say simply copy the task from one script and edit, that is the paste the script in their task, and then so on, increasing with the new projects. Or we can say add new features according to their mind, and this also gives a new shape or the new project. Still, if you have no experience with the programming languages, the initial learning curve may be a bit steep. Now, teaching web programming is beyond the scope of this book. JavaScript introduced in the chapter number 19, that is the introduction to the JavaScript. Now next is the front end versus the back end, that is the difference that is given. So you may hear web designers and the developers so that they can specialize in either the they can specialize in either the front end or the back end or of the website creation. So you may hear about the web designer, that is what are the web designers and what are the various parts of the web designer that is used, and what are the various we can say scenarios that is used as a web designer, and how you are specialized in either the front end or the back end of the website creation. So first side, that is the left side, is the front end design, then the right hand side is the back end development. So there are two parts, one is the front end, one is the back end. The front end refers to any aspect of the design process that appears in or relates directly to the browser. That is the front end. That is the, we can say, the main side. That is the front side that deals with the, or that will deal with the aspects of the design process that appears in and relates directly to the browser. So that appears for the browser, that appears directly or directly to the browser. And this book focus on the front end web design. So this book is focused on the front end web design, that is the front end web design that refers to any aspect of the design process. Now these are the most common tasks, most common we can see the tasks that will be considered to as a front end task. So these are the various tasks that will be used, that is used as a front end. Now these are the various tasks. First is the graphic design and image production, then interface design, then deep knowledge as it permits to the user experience of the site. So these are the various, we can say, the list that is considered as a front end task. So first is the graphic design and the image production. So the website has a task, if website has a graphic designing and the image production concept, so that will be used as a front end task. Then interface design, then information design, that is the information is totally available as a front end design, that it as pertains to the user experience of the site. Then HTML document and the style sheet development, that is also the front end design. Then the JavaScript. Then on the right hand side there will be a backend development that refers to the program and the script that works on the server behind the screen. So you are not able to see the screen, but everything is doing beyond the screen, or we can say the behind the screen, not the beyond the screen, but the behind the screen, or the behind the scene, to make the web pages dynamic and the interactive. So every interaction that is available at the back of the stage, at the back of the site, or behind the scene, to make the web pages dynamic and the interactive. In general, backend web development falls in the hands of experienced programmers. So backend development goes to the hands of the goes in the hands of the falls in the hands of the experienced programmer, because if the programmer is experienced, so there will be a backend development that will be more powerful, that refers to the script, that refers to the work that is available within the document, that is available within the document part. But it is good for the all web designer to be familiar with the backend opportunity or the functionality. Now the following task takes place on the backend. So these are the following tasks that take place on the backend. First is information design as it pertains to how the information is organized on the server. That is the information design. That is how the system works, how the information works for organize the task, for organize the server. So the first task that will be placed on the backend is the information design, then the form processing. That is, every processing is done at the server side. That is not visible to you, but every processing is done on the server side. Then database programming, that is a database programming means a program will be used for the database connectivity, so that is a database programming. Then next is other server side web application that is also available like PHP, ISV, ISV Ruby, ASP.NET, Neha, other programming languages. This is the difference between the front-end design and the back-end development. Now next is the content strategy and the creation. That is the next part that I'm going to start after the break. So let's take a break right now. That is the break. Then after that, that will be a next topic. That is the content strategy and the creation. So let's take a break right now. So come back from the break. Now let's start the session again. The next part is the content strategy and the creation. That is how to how to create the content. That is what are the various strategy for the content development. That is what are the content strategy and how to create the strategy for the content. That is what are the various modes for the content strategy and how to create the various web designing methods. So third in our list, one is the design, one is the development, and the next part that is third in our list is the content strategy and the creation. That is ideally first in the actual website creation process. That is the critical process or critical matter of the site's content itself. So that is the third part. That is the content strategy and the creation. That is the third part. That is the, we can say, the actual website design process. That is the critical process, critical method of the or critical matter of the site's content itself. Anyone who uses the title, that is a web designer, needs to be aware that everything we do supports the process of getting the content, message or functionality to our user. That is whosoever is the web designer, that must know that whatever the content that is established, that is prepared, that must be reflected for the web designer, that must be reflected for the user, that must be benefit for the user. So everything that is supported through the process of the content, message, the functionality to our user. Furthermore, good writing can help the user interface we create to be more effective. So whatever the good writing, whatever the practices that is used for the user interfaces, that should be more effective, that should be more effective. And of course, someone needs to create the content and maintain it. So someone has to maintain, or someone needs to create the content and maintain it. So someone had to for creating a website, someone has to get the content or create the content means there should be a content writer in the web designing process team or the web designing process, we can say the team members. There should be a web designer who creates the object, who creates the content and maintain it. Don't underestimate the resources required to do this successfully. In addition, I want to call your attention to two contents realistic or related specialist on the modern web application team, that is a content strategist and the information architect. So there are two parts. That is the more important part of the web designing concept, web designing tool, or the web development team. That is the main part of the web development team. One is a content strategist, that is a who make the strategy for the content development, that is a content strategist, and the information architect, that is the next part, that is the IA, that is the information architect. And when the content is not written right, the site cannot be fully effective. So if the content is not written in the correct way, the site cannot be fully effective, because if I'm going to the home page, that if the home page is not appear, so that the site cannot be fully effective. And the content specialist make sure that every bit of the text or every bit of the text on a site, from the long explanatory text down to the labels on the button, that is, there should be note that more and more, or we can say the large paragraph will be enabled or will be available on the web designing or the website. No, not the large paragraph, but the content will be available within the multiple links, within the multiple parts. So make sure that every bit of a text on a site that will be available as a part of the team, and that will be available as a label on the button, supports the brand identity and marketing goals of the company. Content strategy may also be extended, or may also extend to the data modeling and the content management on a large and ongoing scale. So whatever the content strategy that might be extended, or they may also be extended to the data modeling and the content management that will be available on a large and the ongoing scale, such as the planning for the content reuse and update schedule. So whatever the planning, whatever the content reuse planning that will be available, that will be available on the update, that will be available on the schedule, that is the content reuse and the update schedule. And the IA, that is the information architect, that is also known as the information designer, organizes the content logically for the ease of the flexibility or the findability. So whatever the IA, that is whosoever the IA, that is the information architect, that organizes the content logically for the ease of the findability. And he or she, that is not the only a he or she may be responsible for search functionality, site diagrams, and how the content and the data is organized on the server. That is the responsibility of the IA. So there are two parts or two main parts. One is the content strategist, one is the IA, that is the information architect. Content strategist is used that there will be no large paragraph, but the content will be available within the multiple labels, within the multiple buttons. And the IA, that is the information architect, that organize the content logically for the ease of the findability. And she may be responsible for searching the functionality, site diagram, and how the content and the data is organized on the server. And information architect is inventively available with the user experience and the user interface design. And it is not uncommon for a single person or a team to perform all the roles. That is the responsibility of the information architect. This is the third part, that is the content strategy and the creation. So the main crux of this content strategy and the creation is that first of all should be a proper creation of the content, that is the content strategy. There should be a strategy that will be followed to create the content, and then how to use them, how to store them, how to publish them, that is also the main part. So first of all, think logically in a practical way. So if there is a web development team, the content writer is a person who writes, who get all the information, who get all the content first of all, store it, and then use that content for the web pages, that is for different web pages, for different web links or the different web content. So there are two parts in this. One is the content strategist and one is the IA, that is the information architect. And the content strategist makes sure that every bit of the text on a site that is used from the long or the text to the labels on the buttons. Then IA, that is the information architect, that information or that organize the text or organize the content logically and for the use of the for ease of the findability. That is the IA, that is the role of the IA, that is the information architect. And he or she may be responsible for each and every functionality, that the data is available, data is fully logical available, content is logical or not, and there should be a greater findability, there should be a greater responsibility that is available for the content strategy and the creation. Now next is the multimedia, that is the fourth part of the web-based application, that is the fourth main part for the web page designing or website creation, that is a multimedia. One of the cool things about the web is that you can add the multimedia elements to a site. So one of the most important thing or one of the cool thing about the web, one of the most important aspect about the web is that you can add the multimedia elements to a site. So anyone can add the multimedia elements. Multimedia elements means the combination of various media, like at the same time we are using the audio, at the same time we are using the text, that is the multimedia element. So anyone can add the multimedia element to a site, including the sound, video, animation, and even interactive games. So anyone can increase the size or can insert the site or can insert the audio, video, sound, animation to the sites. So that is a part of the multimedia. You may decide to add multimedia skills such as the audio and the video editing or the flash development. So it's the responsibility of the website designer to add the multimedia element, to add the multimedia skills such as the audio, video editing or the flash development to your website or web design tool belt. And if you're not interested in becoming a multimedia developer, you can always hire one. So if you are not interested in becoming a multimedia developer, so you can hire one person that is expertise in multimedia elements, so that he or she can insert the multimedia elements, or he or she can insert the multimedia parts, multimedia elements in the website. And web development companies usually look for the people who have mastered the standard multimedia tool and have a good visual sensibility and an instinct for the intuitive and creative multimedia design. So most of the companies, most of the web development companies usually look for the people who have mastered the multimedia elements. That is, they look for the people who have mastered, who are expertise in the multimedia elements, who are going to use the multimedia elements very efficiently. They have hired the person, they have hired the one of the content writer, or sorry, one of the web designer who is expertise in multimedia element, who is very efficient in the multimedia elements. So they look for the people who have mastered the standard multimedia tools and have a good visual sensibility and an instinct for the intuitive and the creative multimedia design. Now a little more about the Flash. So this is just a knowledge about the Flash. Now let's start the session again. There will be some bandwidth problem. I'm so sorry for the delay. So this is the more about the Flash. That is, what is the Flash and how the Flash works. That is the Adobe Flash. So Adobe Flash, previously known as the Macromedia Flash, and also known as a future of Splash, it is a multimedia format that is created especially for the web. So Adobe Flash is generally, or we can say, especially used or specially created for the usage on the web. So it has been created multimedia format that is created especially for the web, and Flash is used to create the full screen animation, interactive graphics, integrated audio and the video clips, and even scriptable games and the application. So whatever the Flash, whatever the creation of the web full screen animation, whatever the interactive graphics, whatever the integrated audio, whatever the audio clips that is used with the games, or and the graphics is also used with the games. Flash is also used with the games, that is the interactive graphics, integrated audio and the video clips, and even scriptable games and the application, all at the remarkably small file sizes. However, recently Flash use has been on the decline due to a number of development, including, that is, the Flash has been used on the decline. Nowadays the Flash has been declined. So first of all, what is a Flash? That will be a, we can say, the tool that is a multimedia Flash, or the Macromedia Flash, also known as a Future Splash. That is a multimedia format that is created especially for the web. So that is created especially means especially for the web, and the Flash is used to create the full screen animation. So Flash is used to create the full screen animation, and interactive graphics, integrated audio and the video clips, and even scriptable games and the applications, all at the remarkably small file sizes. However, recently Flash has been on the decline due to a number of development. Nowadays the demand for the Flash is decreasing because of the number of the reasons, that includes Apple decision not to support the Flash on its iPhones. It's a decision of the Apple, that is not to support the iPhone, or not to support the Flash on the iPhone. That is Apple's decision, that is not to support the we can say the not to support on the iPhone. And Adobe decision to support stop the supporting Flash for the mobile users. So that is Adobe decision that is used to take the supporting Flash, that is used to take the supporting Splash, that is used for the iPhone, that is used for the various decisions, that is used as a various, we can say, the decision making criteria. That is a Flash decision, that is the Adobe Flash, that will be used as a decision. And then the new programmers canvas elements in the HTML5 that form some of the functionality as a Flash. So now HTML5 is also work as a replacement for the Flash. So that's why the demand for the Flash is decreasing. Now next, criticism that the Flash sometimes gets in the way of user goals. That is the Flash sometimes has hangs, that requires the system configuration. Sometimes the flash requirement is not compatible with the system. Sometimes there will be criticism that the flash sometimes gets into the way that the user goes. For example, who wants to sit through a movie and soundtrack on a restaurant site when you all really want to know is that they are open on the Sunday. That is not categorized. That is not, we can say, the use on the flash. The fact that a plugin is required to play flash movies makes some developer squeamish. So yeah, this is my problem in my laptop also, that there will be problem in the splash, that there will be problem that is available in the splash that will be used, that is used as a flash or Dreamweaver, or that is used as a flash weaver. And the fact is that that a plugin is required to play the flash media, that makes more development squeeze. And in fact, it is not uncommon to hear web professional side that the flash is dead, and it is not uncommon to hear that the flash is dead right now. No, that is not the possible. But despite certainly becoming the underdog, that is becoming the underdog means there will be more requirement of the flash, there will be no requirement of the flash, because the demand for the flash is going and decreasing. The main fact is that the system becomes hang when you download, when you upload, or when you download the software that is a flash. And flash has some advantages if used in the right way. So if it is used in the right way, what are the various advantages that is offered by the flash, that is Adobe Flash? So because it has a user vector graphics, flash files, it is uses a vector graphics, flash files are small and can be resized without loss of the details. So it can be decreased without loss of the cell that is available. And it is streaming format, so movies start playing quickly and continue to play as they download. So they continue to play as they download. That is also the main advantage of the flash, that is a streaming format, that is the stream will be available, the sequence will be available, the movies start playing quickly and continue to play as they download. The next is, you can use the action script to add the behavior and the advanced interactivity. So you can also use the action script that is used to add the behaviors and the advanced interactivity. That is, you can increase the behavior, we can add the behavior and the advanced interactivity. Advanced interactivity means more interactivity among the flash. That allows the flash to be used as a front end for dynamically generated content or the e-commerce action. That is, what are e-commerce actions and what are the various dynamically generated content that will be used for the e-commerce functions. The flash plugin is well distributed on the PC. The flash plugin is well distributed on the PC. So support on the desktop browser is reliable. So whatever the desktop browser that will be available, that will be available on the PC. And although HTML5 is promising and rapidly evolving as of this writing, it cannot match the features and the performance of the flash. So although the HTML5 is promising and rapidly evolving, that is of the writing, but the features that cannot make the features of the flash. Although the HTML5 is using currently very good, very good, but not all the feature that is supported by the flash, not all the feature is supported by the HTML5. Then flash is not likely to disappear overnight, but even Adobe is putting its muscle behind the HTML5 alternative. So that is a new trend, that HTML5 is replacing the flash. That is also part of the flash. So this is the, we can say, the disadvantages, or the, we can say, the decline in the flash. These are the various point that shows why there will be decline in the flash, Adobe Flash, and these are the various points that show what are the advantages of the flash. Now next part is, what languages do I need to learn? That is, what are the various languages that do I need to learn? That I'm going to start in the next class, because only Miti Chanmin, you are only available in the today's class, and this is an important chapter because we are going to start the HTML, CSS overview of these languages. That is the most important part. So I'm finishing this class over here only. In the next class, that is in the tomorrow's class, I'm taking this topic, that is, which languages do I need to learn. So that's all for today's session. Thank you so much everyone for listening me. Everyone means Miti Janmin because you are the only person that is available in the today's class. Thanks a lot everyone. Bye bye. If there is any doubts, any question, you can ask the doubts. Okay, thanks a lot Miti Janmin. So thanks a lot. Bye bye. Okay, we will do it tomorrow. Bye bye.